All right, so we're talking through some stuff. Let's go ahead and stop this. So as far as for our stance, um, I mean, with your strength and size, I don't think there's any issues at all as far as being that wide. Um, and your hands. What did you do with your hands again? They used to be kind of back here more. Okay, so you brought your hands in a little closer. Um, the biggest thing is when we go, you do get yourself loaded, and you kind of get yourself in that launch position, right? And the biggest thing we got to be careful of is the biggest thing is when the front foot lands, then you should be done going forward with our hips and our head, right? And what? Right. So your front foot has landed. Okay. So when you take a stride with this foot, once that front foot lands, that hip and head should be done going forward, meaning that it should begin to. Once you do land foot, then I want to rotate the back knee into the front knee and rotate your body at that point. But if my front foot lands and I keep going, then we start to drift or we start to come apart, and that's when we start to collapse the front side. I mean, what's the pitcher's goal? To keep this bent or straight? I mean, the pitcher's goal is if he gets this bent, then that means it gets you out in front, right? And what's happening is when instead of that you're late, well, I don't want to be late, so what do you do with your hands? Well, you snap your hands because those are the 6-3 ones that you're talking about, right? Because you can't get there. Your hands can't drop into there, so you just spin to get there to make sure that you're going to at least hit it and not get sawed off, right? So this would be land foot. So let's put a line in front of our hip because we should be done going forward, right? Oops. Let's put a line right. So when land foot hits, this should be done, that should be done. Now what should happen is when land foot hits, we begin to rotate into front side, right? And you can see on this one, okay, that one's pretty good, right? They weren't like that before, meaning that some of them, this is a pretty good spot. Right, okay, and this is the angle that we want. So if we're going to go from our straight up and down, that's perfect what we want. This is the angle on the legs that we want. It's our good rotation, right? That's that firm front side. Your foot is pretty open, meaning that's gonna make you not be good on the outer half, right? When that foot's past 45 degrees, when that foot is more towards first base, it should be a little bit closed because that's going to let you hit against a firm front side more and be able to have more power with a pitch away. So you can what you want to do is you want to land closed and then let your swing kind of let you do it. I mean, obviously you kind of really have that kind of pivot and turn. But as you go to spin, it kind of, see that right there? Right? And that's going to expose, because that takes our power away. That's going to transfer to be more muscle. So at this point of your swing, you want that to be a little bit more closed off, where you're not going to be able to hit against a firm front side. Because if my leg opens, I mean, how do I hit against a firm closed front side if this is kind of too far open? But if it's here, then I can hit against something and have that, you know what I mean? Something to go into, that wall to kind of go into. But if the wall's open, then I can kind of come through the wall and go forward too much. And this one was in pretty good shape, right? I mean, that looks pretty good as far as that firm front side. Now, after contact, it doesn't hugely matter, but even firmed out more, right? And a lot of times what you're doing is, but see, the problem is when you still end up with too much of a bent front side and your timing is this far off, then you're going to be in trouble because you're going to start hitting like that, right? Because at contact, I mean, we're the opposite of what we should be. Even after we finish, we should be able to, yes, we should still be in the same spot. Well, after we finish right now, you're locked and you're bent. So the complete opposite of what you really want. Because the pitcher's going to get you out there a lot. And they want to get you out there, but then you'll be kind of rolling over, right? So I think the key is to get you to kind of stay back. Firm with that front foot. Don't go through that wall and really firm where you can hit against that firm front side. And again, I'm just telling you what, as far as for my knowledge, doesn't mean that it's perfect or right or someone else's. The other thing that happens a lot of time when guys go off to school, okay, and this is a huge thing in regards to college. What you're smiling already? What? People try and change it, but what's the biggest thing from high school to college? You go from right, but you go from pulling everything. And what do they really instill with college ball? Right. 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 Oh my gosh, yeah. Guys are gonna get drafted. Half his teams are gonna get drafted. Right. Exactly. Right. 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 Well, and the reason I say that is because a lot of times college guys don't let you remember how to pull the ball. So I think for him, it's so much focus and it's so much practice that they do get him back to middle of the way. But right now is you're not releasing the barrel for inner half when you have an opportunity to hit inner half. Right? So right now you'll see that your hands are show, that knob. If the knob gets too far ahead, then this doesn't get the release. So once the knob gets towards your front part of your body, then you need to release the barrel to make sure that it doesn't get you to drag. I think sometimes it drags because, I mean, to get the drop to get the barrel to release, that top hand to get through. Exactly. But there's so much college ball that it's so much small ball. Get them over, get them in, get the opposite side of the field. Well, your job is more power. You're an outfield strong guy, and I think a lot of guys, always the first year, they come back to me and said, "Ben, I don't know how to pull a ball anymore," because they've been so focused. Joe Ayers went out of Juneau to Stanford, 4 or 5 years ago, and he came after me in 3 months and said, "I don't know how to enter half anymore because they won't let me pull the ball. We'll just be away, and they don't even want you to pull anything. Nope, keep going away." So he was shoving his hands inside and forgot to release the barrel. And I see a little bit of this where because probably a lot of your rounds are probably a lot away. So 80% of the time, you're middle away, right? So you're shoving your hands there, so you're not working on inner half. And then if you're out in front, you might be collapsing the leg a little bit. Now this came probably from the last few weeks, but I think the other part of the problem is making sure that you work inner half to get your barrel to get to inner half, right? To understand that those points of contact where the inner half you get to hit here, and the outer half you got to let it get back here. You got to let it travel. But what you're doing on the inner half, even there, I mean, I was throwing 50 and jamming you all over the place. I came inside on purpose because you're so focused on so much practice away that you're actually hitting your inner half at the same spot as your away pitch. You're like this when it should be like that, right? So I think we have to stay back. I think we have to work on a firm front side to get you to stay back, and even at your finish and hold that, and really work on the middle away to where you should make contact. But then we got to get you feeling good and confident on the inner half to where can I make contact, right? To be firm and to get my barrel there and to understand those two things and be able to rack. Right, right. At least those are some of the things that I see. But I think the push-off side, I want you to focus not as much going into it this way, of more landing and then rotating to the ball, right? Because when you're not rotating, that makes us long and slow to the ball, right? Because we have to be muscly. But if you rotate, that helps us be quick and through the baseball. Does that make sense? Bad angle? Okay, so that's good.